Don't buy HBAR, you stupid idiot. I thought about titling the video just that instead of HBAR price prediction, but I wanted you to know that this is a part of my price prediction series, and I'm going to make a case in this video as to why I believe HBAR is going to underperform greatly from a lot of people's price targets. If you don't know, I've seen price projections for HBAR to go to $1, $2, $4 even. I don't think it's getting anywhere near that, and I think I can make a convincing case. But before we go ahead and dive on into this, as always, this is not financial advice. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research. I am not a financial advisor. And while I do appreciate that most of you who are hopping in here are not subscribed to my channel, you've got to hit that subscribe button because I am releasing content every day. And while you're hitting the subscribe button, or for those of you who are subscribed, be sure to turn on the notification button because this is a rapidly evolving crypto space and I am doing everything I can to keep up with the narratives and trends, and you are not going to want to miss a beat. But otherwise, let's go ahead and dive on into this. A few things about HBAR right up front. I love HBAR, which might sound a little crazy for you to hear that from me after everything that I just said, after the way I titled this video. I love HBAR fundamentally. If you go to realtps.net, what you'll find is that HBAR is always either number 1 or number 2 in their transactions per second, the actual transactions per second, not what they boast. I like HBAR. I like what they're building. I like their partnerships. I love HBAR. I am very bullish on HBAR this decade. Next bear market, whenever that is, 2026, 2027, whatever, I am going to be buying a lot of HBAR. I think it's going to do very well over towards the end of the decade, early 2030s and beyond. Short term, I have 3 major concerns. And whenever I share those concerns, just a warning, I get a lot of pushback from people who love HBAR. And I'm going to just say this now, take any comment that you see on this video with a massive grain of salt. I've gotten these comments on other videos, on other platforms that I've made. They are pandering, they're condescending, they're ridiculous. And I have a suspicion as to the source of these comments, but I won't get into that right now. I think that these are people who are mostly, for the most part, they're people who are commenting these negative comments who have a very significant incentive to not promote FUD of HBAR. I'll stop there for now. We'll get into that in a second. So here are my 3 concerns. Concern number 1, I've talked about this a ton. HBAR has a highly inflationary supply, which is okay in some regards. That is how HBAR is keeping the lights on right now, but that cannot continue forever, and it's not going to continue forever, which is why I'm more bullish on this towards the end of the decade than I am right now. Concern number 2, HBAR has an extremely concentrated supply. And I'll show you a chart showing what I'm talking about. And I'll show you a chart of historically what tends to happen with cryptocurrencies that have extremely concentrated supplies. And then concern number 3 is SAFT distribution dynamics. And what you are up against when you buy HBAR, you've got to know, and you've got to stick around for that part at the very least, because you are competing. You're not competing. You are buying into something that people are up very highly on, and you've just got to see what I'm talking about here. So moving on. First, HBAR's total circulating supply. This has almost quadrupled from the day that HBAR peaked in 2021. So if HBAR, and by the time that the euphoria returns, most people are expecting the euphoria returns, it is pretty much going to be quadruple the supply. So think about it from this perspective. HBAR peaked at X billion dollars last cycle. It peaked at 56.1 cents in its X billion dollars market cap. It would take HBAR's market cap quadrupling for HBAR's price to get back to 56.1 cents. That may not sound that difficult, but I've talked about this in other videos. There were only 2 cryptocurrencies that peaked in 2018 that then put in a higher high in 2021 that did better than a 4x in market cap. Those 2 cryptocurrencies were Dogecoin and Binance. Dogecoin for reasons that you all know, Elon Musk, insane things happening with Dogecoin. That was an extreme outlier. Binance, because just Binance grew incredibly over those 3 years from 2018 to 2021. It's not nearly as likely as people are thinking for HBAR to do a 4x in its market cap, which means that I'm pretty convinced, I'm very convinced actually, that HBAR is not going to put in a new all-time high in 2024, 2025, whenever the bull run would be. So 4 times as much supply in circulation now than when it peaked in 2021. And so you can see how that has played out on the chart. If you can see HBAR in comparison to other cryptocurrencies, what you will see is that HBAR is underperforming right now. Now, it's not the inflation, the rate of inflation is decreasing. There is right now, like I said, the day that I'm making this video, at least 33.63 billion total supply. There's no way that's going to be able to 4x by the time of the next Bitcoin halving in 2028 because the total max supply is 50 billion. So they just don't have nearly as much to go. But because of this highly inflationary supply, because of vesting releases, distributions, the price has been suppressed, and that's going to remain the case. A lot of these distributions are over, but then there's still plenty more to come. There's 17 billion tokens that need to be released. So that is concern number 1, highly inflationary supply. Concern number 2, highly concentrated supply. So sometimes it's okay for the supply to be highly inflationary, but it's much better if the supply is highly inflationary and it's not highly concentrated. But for HBAR, their team, their agreements, their SAF distribution, their ecosystem, their supply is about 68% concentrated. And that is a large, large piece of the pie. So retail right now, what you are buying is a share of 32%. It's probably a little higher right now, but in the 30s. And so they have so much supply. And so what's going to happen as these holders have billions of dollars, maybe not billions, but hundreds of millions of dollars worth of HBAR? Are they going to wait for it to go up to $1? Are they going to wait for it to do a 12 to 13x from today's prices? But when knowing that $100 million, if you own $100 million of a cryptocurrency, a 20% gain is a phenomenal gain. That's $20 million. Now, they're not waiting for only a 20% gain, but there is a point. And historically, what I have seen is that selling point, because they're going to decide where HBAR peaks. Someone's going to decide. Someone's going to dump their bags. And maybe they have an agreement. Maybe they all have an agreement. We're not selling our HBAR until this price. We'll see how that plays out. But historically, the way that has worked for every cryptocurrency with a highly inflationary supply is that supply is dumped at specific retrace levels before a new all-time high. A perfect example of this, and I know some of you who love HBAR are going to criticize me for even comparing this to NEO, but NEO has had, this is just one example, NEO has a very highly concentrated supply. Largest wallet, 37%. Second largest wallet, 27.8%. Even these next few wallets here, 9.7, 4.7, 4.6, those are very large wallets of this particular cryptocurrency. And you can see exactly what happened on the chart with NEO from 2017 actually, to 2021. This is like clockwork. It's insane. So NEO entered the golden pocket, hit a 0.66 retrace at $133.33, got rejected there really hard. And then it bounced right back up. And then once again, it did a 702 retrace, the top of the golden pocket. You couldn't find a price chart more clean than this. They knew exactly what they were doing. And I think the same thing is going to happen with HBAR this time around. So a highly inflationary supply, highly concentrated supply, and now you need to know who you're up against when you're buying HBAR. All right, and so I'm not going to read all of this, but these are documents that you can find on HBAR's website, and they have these series, these SAFT series, these allocations, these distributions where people were able to invest in, I believe, 2019. and receive HBAR valued at a specific price, or pay for that HBAR at a specific price. And then those distributions have been occurring over the last 4 years. The last distribution for this series was in September of 2023. So it's over with the SAF distributions with this one and with the next one that I'm going to talk about. But still, that's not what I'm concerned about. What I'm concerned about is that these are people who received their HBAR that they invested in after the 2021 all-time high. Some of it was released before the all-time high in 2021. Some of it was released after. I think, not that I think, I know for a certainty that most of this distribution was released after the HBAR peak in 2021. And so you are up against people who have invested $4.7 million, $4.7 million and received HBAR at an adjusted price of 0.001. Okay, so HBAR's price today, you are competing, you want to buy HBAR, you are buying something that people are receiving allocations of, and they're receiving an instant 80x. From the bear market bottom, an instant 35x. That is who you're going against when you're buying. These are certainly investors, but there are employees, and there are family members of employees. This was available to seed investors, to employees, to family members of employees. So, you know, you have your Uncle Tom who invested $1,000 into HBAR, and that $1,000 as of right now is worth $80,000 if he did if he didn't sell in the 2021 bull run. But let's say he invested $5,000 and $2,500 of that came after the 2021 peak. That's 80 times that. That's let me think here, $200,000. So that's what you're going against. You're going against people who have paid in at a much lower price. And so this is just SAF Series 1. SAF Series 2, it was a little bit higher. It was 5 times higher, but still 0.005 per coin. So again, you're buying into something that people have received distributions, allocations of at a 16x. Instant 16x in comparison to today's prices. Okay, these are people who are not, the selling pressure that comes with being 16x or 80x is so much stronger than you buying in at 8 cents, hoping that it's going to go up to $1 so that you can see a 12.5x on your investment. Personally, if I put X amount of dollars into this, I would not even come close to being able to wait out another 10x when I'm already 80x up. I couldn't do it. I'd be taking profits regularly and aggressively. I'd be taking profits right now, honestly, and that's what's happened. That is what's happened with these SAF investors. So they raised $4.5 million in SAF Series 1 and then $14.5 million in SAF Series 2. Now, there is a third SAF series, and I'm not going to get into that, especially because their initial allocation, the price that was given to them was 12 cents. And so that they have already received all of it, and they are down according to today's prices, but at some point they were up. So let's not worry about SAF 3, but SAF 1 and SAF 2 is a major concern. SAF 1 is probably the biggest, no, it's not probably, it's definitely the biggest concern because SAF 2 ended in 2022. SAF 3 ended recently. You are competing against 4.9 billion coins just in SAF 1. All right, so these are things you've got to keep in mind. I wouldn't be able to hold until a new all-time high if I was already up 80x. There's just no way. So how do we calculate the HBAR price? How do we calculate where we think a target would be for a bull run peak? Well, there's two options. And this is actually option number 1. I'm not going to choose this option. So HBAR market cap dominance peaked at 0.25%. I really don't see a reason, given all the new things in the crypto space, given all the excitement in the crypto space, why HBAR's market cap dominance would go beyond 0.25%. And so first projection, 0.25% exactly. That gives us historical market cap dominance, 0.25%, assuming a 7 trillion total market cap, total crypto market cap. That gives us a $17.5 billion market cap. in a projection of 35 billion tokens that would be in existence at the peak. That gives us exactly 50 cents for HBAR. But like I said, I would prefer to do option 2 because I think this is going to be a big target for large holders of HBAR, and that is a 702 retrace, just like NEO. 702 retrace gives us a price of 41.117313. So 42.117313, 42.12 cents, and that is where I'm landing for my official bull run prediction for HBAR. You know, and that's something like a 6x from today's prices. You want a 6x, sure, get in, not financial advice, but that is going to be a quick move. It's going to be a hard rejection there. And no matter what happens, even if HBAR were to go beyond that, there's going to be a hard rejection of the 702 retrace. I would be taking profits along the way, but personally, I'm not buying any HBAR. I used to own HBAR. I don't anymore. I will be buying it at a later date, but I'm putting my money elsewhere. And not financial advice. That's my recommendation to you. Remember, take any comments in this video with a massive grain of salt. I've gotten a lot of hate. I will continue to get a lot of hate for what I would consider very rational HBAR analysis. And I will get a lot of emotional responses, and that's okay. That comes with being in the crypto space. But do your own research, and I will see you in another video. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Peace.